So this is brought up at the start of every Linux Foundation meeting. The antitrust policy is available at the website highlighted there. This gives us kind of the opportunity to talk about certain things, but of course we come from member companies, so we also need to be cognizant that we don't talk about things that can violate the antitrust policy. I don't think we'll do this here today. And if you're a member of the Linux Foundation or your company is, then you can contact Andy Updegrove for further information. With that out of the way, what I wanted to really discuss, and I'm glad we've got some good folks on the line here today, is this AI working group I've been sensing for a couple of months now. Is kind of what do we want to do? We've got this guide. We are looking at possibly putting this in ISO 42001 integration. Mary had the action to go and work out who to talk to in ISO to try and get this guide embedded. As far as I'm aware, she's not had any progress on that to date. So given that, I kind of wanted to open it up to the six of us to work out. Oh, Karen, go for it.
Yeah, for the 42001 integration, I sponsored one of the leaders, actually the project lead with 42003, to come in and share with the Linux Foundation LF AI how they could contribute to that document. I could do the same thing for you guys if you want, and or um, you know, it's a very easy process to get your stuff integrated, but you have to have somebody amongst this team that is officially on the ISO team. So, feel free to use me. I can give you a list of people that are associated with the Linux Foundation that are also associated with ISO, but you could use that mechanism. And as I say, I could sponsor bringing in the project lead and she can reiterate exactly what the process is, if that helps.
I think it would, because Mary, from what I understand, has not been able to get very far here. I know she has spoken to a number of people, but I don't think, in the absence of her being here and informing us, has been able to get that. So I don't know, Karen,
Yeah,
if you can send myself and Mary and Dave Marr a message with your thoughts on how we can integrate and if you can help, then I think
yeah.
it would be great.
If you can send me Mary's address, that would
Sure.
be great. And I will send that because, as I say, we're doing it with the responsible AI framework, getting that integrated into 42001, as well as I've just set up a meeting to get baseline integrated into 42001. So this would be just a natural next step as well.
Great to hear. I'll send you Mary's email address, and it would be great if you can help and we can report back at the next meeting. So given that is the direction of what we discussed in the past, what do we want this AI working group to work on next? We're cognizant that there are other AI working groups around the community. There's six of us here. I'd love to hear what other people think. Marcel, you have your hand up.
Not an opinion, but I potentially couldn't join the last times. But was there some progress on this picture that you sent once? You sent a draft proposal for this picture.
Um,
Remember?
I do remember, and I can bring that up. There wasn't much progress on there, but I can certainly highlight that, and that could be something we could do as, I mean, this is a small task. I guess I was more thinking of maybe more holistically what the AI working group could do, but
Yeah. Though therefore, I also said I just wanted to make sure because that I found it very very helpful.
no
And
problem.
used it already for discussions. And the question came up if there are potentially even several flavors that we would need to take into account in such a picture, point number one. And concerning what could this working group do is that I tried, well, as you might know, we had this Stuttgart event here, OpenChain and Friends, and we had also an education work group there. And there I shared. So first of all, I thought, okay, hey, cool, there's a free AI training, right? I said, that is interesting. I will share it, an open source AI training. And then the next day, another AI training, and then the next day, another. And now I said, I feel a little bit uncomfortable now with sharing it again if there's another one, but it felt like an explosion of free AI trainings from Anthropic, for Claude, from GitHub, everyone, and that might be something helpful, I think, for the community to have a collection of those links to say, okay, where can I get more information already? I don't know if this is more on the education side or in this AI working group, but I think that would be helpful to have a common base for that.
Anyone's thoughts on Marcel's comments there before I hand over to Karen?
I'd love to see the diagram.
I'm trying to find it in the background. I really am. Just give me a moment.
No problem. I
Talk
mean,
amongst yourselves.
it sounds like that would be a great idea, Martha. The whole trip. So I don't know if any folks go to the FinOS meetings, but they're very, very much focused on training for the financial institution about AI right now.
Okay, then this would anyway be the question: do we have an extra repo or a repo portion in the repo for this OpenChain AI working group where I could make a pull request where I thought before I post the next, hey, I found yet another free training. I say, okay, I would just make a markdown file and collect all this. But the question is, okay, where to put that? If there's a FinOps repo, I can also make a pull request there, but I would prefer, to be honest, putting it here, not because I think it would be better here, but here I have already all my approvals to do this. And from there we could use it. I just searching for a happy home, and I was even hoping that this potentially already exists somewhere else, because I think I'm not the only one who could have had this idea, hey, there are so many free trainings now, and we need some navigation here.
I see Mary's joined in. Is there a place where we can put information like that, Mary?
Yes, I think we could create AI in our group in the GitHub.
Great. Could I maybe give you an action to do that and share that around so Marcel can put this information?
Yeah, and we could upload all of the existing material to the GitHub. But in this case, we probably need to have one place like the main track in the GitHub, so we do not use two places in parallel. It's difficult to maintain. So the thing is, for all of the people who are working in this AI work group, are you prefer to use GitHub or use the Google Doc? That's the question.
I would suggest getting both of them available and making people aware of both of them. And then if Marcel wants to upload things to GitHub and share the link around, then we do it that way.
From the document management aspects, it's not good to have two main tracks, but then in this case, we could create a two channel for sharing information, but then we probably use some for like keep on updating. Then when the updating in like a milestone, then we merge.
Yeah, I'm not suggesting having two locations for the same information. I'm just having two locations. Some people prefer one and the other. I don't know if if like Google Docs is better for sharing docs than GitHub, but at least having somewhere central that we can put information, I think is what we're looking for.
Yeah, let's start to create this GitHub AI work group and then put this existing material there.
Thank you, Mary.
Mm.
So this was the image that, and thank you, Nicola, for putting it in the chat. I found the email. So I think it was the February meeting. It may have been the March meeting. No, a few of us discussed an open source software version of this that Marcel had seen on, correct me if I'm wrong, OpenChain website. And it was, could we have an AI equivalent? And I just replicated the open source one. And had this, that the concept was that an AI model is going to have proprietary code, open source software, public data sets, licensed data set, and just say there's an open source software issue in one of these components, then the whole final system is infected. And of course, we have the AI model, but then we have the AI system. The AI system will have other things going in, but because of one bit of data that had an issue with maybe a bit of license compliance, and the whole thing is potentially jeopardized. So others chip in if you think I've misinterpreted that or want to add anything, and then please make comments on this image here. Nothing. What do people think of this image?
I'm have to be honest, I learn with this, right? I just ask myself if so because we are talking about supply chain, um, what are the different players in this chain, right? So if I would take our classic open source, so the blue box would be then a classic open source chain, right? So and if there someone messes up, then this blue part could have issues, and with that, in fact, also the AI model and the final AI system. So here I could have a lot of transitive open source software supply chain dependencies. And I ask myself, so the other boxes, would there also be a potential chain behind that licensed data set, right? So a licensed data set that includes another licensed data set, whatever. I don't know. I've no clue. If also what's already existing in the market, what are the places where I would need to tell my suppliers, hey, here, please adhere to this guide, adhere to this ISO, etc., to ensure that I can have trust that this is done correctly. And in the for the blue box, I would tell the supplier, hey, 5200 and 18974, please apply it so that I can have trust for the blue box. That's fine. But for the other boxes, I have no idea if this is necessary at all. And the other thing is also OSS issues. It's open source software. And we're talking about data, right? So, and open data is, I think, also another beast, right? Concerning licensing, etc., etc. Yeah, I was also not sure what that means.
You raise a good point here. I think it could be here, for example, or any of the. My interpretation of what this diagram was trying to get was that is so much going into these models that if one component, and as you said, each of these will have lots of things involved in it, if one component can infect the rest of the system. Do we think we need, well, I think we do need further iterations on this. And then I'm sure we can consider publishing something like this.
I have some questions here, maybe two. The first one, I saw that in the AI model, we have these four boxes. do we need to include one boxes like AI generated code as well
Do we include AI generated code?
as input to AI model?
For me, I'm wondering whether the two things are orthogonal because you can have AI generated proprietary code, AI generated software, AI generated data sets, and they could also be human created versions of those.
I see. So you mean all of the four boxes could be AI
AI
generated?
generated, indeed.
Mm.
What was your second question?
Yeah. The second one, like the open source software, maybe it's like a traditional naming like prime code and open source software code. It's still like many people think the definition or terminology is still the traditional way, not like mixed together with the AI generated code. My second question is about the OSS issue here for this broken the supply chain from the license dataset to AI model. The OSS issues is quite wide. Is this means more like compliance issues or, I mean, license issues or security issues?
I think it's all of the above.
So we generally call it OSS issues.
Um, maybe the word OSS is wrong here, and we need to have compliance issue, and we could have an asterisk there that says this could relate to security, license, etc.
Yeah, that
Also
might be.
consider that the security vulnerabilities are to be checked, not only the compliance issues.
True, true. So it's a plethora of issues here.
Maybe we can have a kind of like text here, explain a little bit. OSS issues, yeah, we're just thinking this wideness and what we would pass the information from this picture to the audience, whether that is too wide or it's okay, like that.
I think I will change that word OSS to have maybe just issue, and then, as we say, try and come up with some nomenclature that can define the types of issues that we're talking about.
Yeah, that
You
might
mean,
be a good.
yeah, I think have a kind of a little bit interpretation text maybe will help people to understand more. Great.
Okay.
Generally, yeah, I think this picture is great. It means, I mean, it describes what we mean.
So, Mary, just before you joined, we talked about ISO 42001. Karen mentioned that she can connect us with people at 42001, and in principle, we should be able to incorporate the AI SBOM guide into an ISO standard as long as we have someone as a member. But given you're now here, Mary, do you have any updates with how you progressed?
Uh, I think I have synced with you the first time when I got the email from
Yeah.
Andrew. Andrew is the program leader from ISO 42. So he's very positive about this, and the next step he's going back to talk to the ISO 42 people, who is responsible for the marketing and the business part. Then I haven't got the feedback yet. I'm planning to push them this week a little
Great.
bit. Yeah.
So, Mary, what I offered is I'm working with 42,001 project leads and 42,003, which is the implementer's guide, which I actually think is the better place for your stuff to be integrated. But I could offer to bring the project leads into this meeting, a US friendly time zone, though. So that they could actually tell you the process, because I have actually done that with Linux Foundation AI and Open SSF baseline. So they're also contributing to 42,001 right now.
That would be great. That would be great. Thank you very much, Karen.
Yeah, no problem. Sometimes coming from going both directions from the top, which is where you came, I tend to work with the grassroots people, and at some point they'll meet and they'll all agree. So maybe both paths, are needed at this time. But I think your open chain SBOM guide is a good place to start adding some of that content into 40. As I say, the handbook is more about, the operations of what you need to do associated with the 42,000 guardrails, 42,001 guardrails. So anyway, but we can figure out the methodology by coming at it both ways.
Yes. I think last time, I think when David asked me for, how to make sure our AI workgroup people have the access to edit the ISO standard through the national body. How this is done, like from OpenSSF or from other projects?
So the way that we established is, I'm aware of 3 individuals that are ISO. They're called AI experts. One in Netherlands, one in Japan, and myself in Canada. And if you pass any information to either of those 3 people, they will represent you in the official meetings and get it approved. So you sort of have to have a broker to get your stuff there, at least right now. But maybe coming from the top, you'll find out differently. I don't see a method to do a direct submission from the outside world unless you're part of the ISO community. So it's really just leveraging some people that are in the community and getting them to represent you.
I see.
That's how we set it up with baseline and the LF, or they call it responsible AI framework.
That is from the AI aspects is doing this way, or is it generally a process?
No, it's not. It's only being established right now. So, but we're using it for LFAI group. I don't know. I'm sure you know them. And they have a sub project called Responsible AI Framework, which is a set of rules that you need to adhere to be deemed a responsible AI system. And then Baseline, which is a set of best practices for developers to do to make cyber secure software for AI. So those are the 2 groups that we're currently integrating their work into 42,001 family of standards.
So in our case, for this AI SBOM self-certification, if we would like to contribute that part to ISO 42003, so the only way is we need to make someone from our work group go through this, either from some committee or from Linux Foundation, some let's say The joint,
So,
because I checked with two departments. On the Linux Foundation, one is legal, the other one is the Joint Development Foundation. Seems
mhm.
legal doesn't have this function, and Joint Foundation will have to look into it. So I'm still waiting and think with them for this
Yeah.
purpose.
So as you say, you so with ISO, to become a member, you need to, if somebody in this working group wants to become, I have no problem sharing all the requirements, but basically you fill in a resume and then you're accepted as an AI expert in the community and you represent a country. You can't represent a company. And then, as you say, they can be your broker as well as I say, Sumiko, Iris, and myself are already set up. And if you want to use us, you can use us. But you can also have somebody in the community if anybody's interested in joining ISO. And then you join the 42,000 or SC 42, and then you get access to all the family of standards that they're doing in the AI space.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for sharing. And
No problem.
I will continue to talk with the Joint Development Foundation and to figure out the detailed part later.
Yeah, so Jordy, I don't know if you
Yeah.
reached out to Jordy.
Yeah.
So there is a different path to getting your standard into ISO, and she's more coordinating that. It's called a PAS. It's PAS, but you in your document, I think you guys used it, that path for your other two standards that you went through ISO. You give the whole submission. It goes through a totally different group. It doesn't go through SC42, the AI group. It goes through another group that basically just approves your document and gives you an ISO number. So it's whether you want to be integrated with actual sort of standards or you want to be like similar to your other standards. There are the two options, and Jordy is more familiar with the pause path.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that is the path that we followed for the other two standards through JTC1
Yeah.
PAS submission. And
Yeah.
right now, there is not a open source type committee pulled together in that process to actually review submissions. So they would
Correct.
have to reform one of those.
Yeah, yeah. That's why I'm not pushing that for any of the AI stuff that's getting done. I think you should go directly to, getting it integrated and accepted by all the different countries versus just coming as a package that gets a brand stamp of ISO, but it doesn't typically get as much exposure. But again, it's your call. I mean, whatever your motivation on why you want to get an ISO sort of label on it.
I think there's
Yeah,
always
Anyway, just reach out to me if there's anything I can do. I work with Jordy as well, and Madeline, because we're trying to also get some open standards through the process, but through the PAS way. So you have your option both ways.
Thank you so much. I will reach both then to be able to, make sure all of the process is clear.
Yeah, no problem.
It's quite difficult to know all of the process. So, I mean, at least, especially the first time,
Yes.
because I
And
was not involved in the previous two ISO standard, even though this one is not the same way as the existing ISO standard, but the process is probably very similar, the same.
Yeah, very true. It's and it's same as any sort of nonprofit. It's who you know as well. Because if you come with, through the path of nobody knows you. It seems to take a long time, but if you have some influencers and promoters, you can get through the system. That's a lot faster.
Yeah, thank you.
But did you want to go back to the lists, Matthew? Because I've got a few ideas of what's next for this group.
Let's do it. Go
Yeah,
for it.
and similar to what Marcel said, if you create a PR system, maybe that's a great way for, reaching out to people to say, hey, you have any ideas of, what should go on the roadmap? Since I've been waiting.
Go for it.
Just kidding. So there's a lot of talk, especially around open source, about the runtime bomb. And I don't know if there's anything like a user guide. So it's really, how do you use an SBOM in operations and monitoring? So I don't know if that's an area that you're interested in. The other one that, again, I hear a lot about, and that is knowing that a AI system is good enough. Like in Singapore, they're doing a lot of work which they refer to as validation and verification. And again, I don't know if that's an area this group is interested in getting in. Let me think, what are the other ones? Within OpenSSF, they have started to build what I'm going to call agents, to mostly around agents that automatically build AI code. And they actually have an agent that is a developer, but there needs to be a lot more sort of what are the best practices of how you should do that? And again, I don't know if agents is another area that you're interested in doing. Let me just think what else is on my list. And then myself, I'm involved, just so you guys are aware. ISO is doing a set of reviews and research associated with systems of AI systems and how you document and manage those. So if that's of interest to this group, I'd love to pull you into those discussions. They are sort of a smaller group right now, and then it will go to the 174 countries probably later this calendar year. So just a couple of ideas. I don't know, again, I'm not sure where you all want to go, but I'm sure I can even think of more because I'm in a lot of discussions about sort of the future of AI systems and where regulations and guidance for the open source and community needs to happen. So
For me, when you were saying that list, the agents one resonated with me more so.
yes.
I look at the vision of OpenChain about building trust
Yeah.
and the lack of trust with agents. It might be something there that we could work on. I kind of
Yeah.
like that idea.
So if you guys are interested, we should reach out to David Wheeler. I think some of you know him. He's with the OpenSSF. He's actually built that first agent on behalf of sort of the open source world. But he is in his sort of communication to the working group that is associated with that. It's similar to what you just said, Matthew. How do you trust these things? So like, there's a whole new field of errors that can come into that trust system or vulnerabilities associated with agents, as we're all seeing.
What do others think about that?
Yeah.
Well, Mary, when's the next board meeting? I feel as though maybe we need to get some also have some input from the board as well.
It will be in October,
October.
probably.
Okay.
Yeah. One other area of trust. It's come into Microsoft presented to the SPDX group about embodied AI, which is, to me, it's robotics. But the whole physical AI is another trust area that is going to be coming at us as well. So it might be of interest to you guys.
Well, thank you, Karen. Uh, there are definitely things in there that I think fall within the mantra of OpenChain. Whether we need to get the board to kind of approve and sign off, maybe that's something myself and Mary can take and see whether we need to do this via email or something along those lines. But I think there's definitely things there that we can work towards.
Yeah, just one other suggestion, Mary. What I'm seeing in Open SSF, SPDX, and Linux Foundation AI, everybody, and even Finos, they're regrouping to figure out where their focuses are going to be for the next couple of calendar years. It might be worth, I don't know if that's presented at the board level, but we should definitely get sort of that roadmap or vision from all of those groups to you guys so that you can see sort of, and even the Agentic AI Foundation have a roadmap, because what was happening is there was a lot of cross or similar work getting done, but now everybody seems to be given a mission of what their group is supposed to be doing. So I think it might be useful to get that information to this group.
That's a great point. I like that, for each project, it's great to have understand their like vision, mission, and roadmap milestones for the coming calendar years. I think we will do that as well, and it will be great to share with the community and with other organizations as well.
Yep. So if I can help in any way of telling you sort of who the key people are that are doing those visions, let me know.
Yeah,
There,
I will
there's
talk with you definitely later after this meeting. Not today,
yeah,
but afterwards. Yeah,
no,
I think it's great.
no problem.
Thank you. Mm.
Is there anything else from anyone?
Yeah, for the when I start to create the GitHub repo for the AI work group,
Yeah.
what we have today is this AI SBOM self-certification document, right?
Yeah.
So when I add that document, do we have a kind of freeze version for this document? So when I upload to the GitHub, the next step is we continue to develop this document, or it's like time to collect the public review period. What is the next step?
I don't understand the question, sorry, Mary. With the guide, is that what you're talking about, or the self-certification?
Yeah, with the document, the guide.
Well, we created the guides, we've done the PR reviews, and it's kind of static now until we decide on whether we put this in 42,000 and something.
Okay, so we put that document into the GitHub, and then we are open for people, to have the easy put their issues there if they have any comments, right? That is
Yeah, I don't think we'd anticipated to have an open comment period, um, because I think we've already done that, certainly on that version. I don't think there's
okay.
any anticipation to open that up until we understand where we want to
Mhm.
take that.
I see. So the current document, the Google Doc, is a final version currently.
There is a final version, yes.
Great. Um, that I will check with you or if you can send me the final version link, then I will just upload that document to the GitHub.
Okay.
Thank you.
This is Karen. My apologies. I didn't get all my comments that I wanted into that document, but there is one thing I just wanted to verify. So the G7 has actually put out what I'm calling it's the list of mandatory fields for AI bombs. And I didn't have time to go validate with your document to see that you have everything in there. And I just want to make sure that you have seen that G7 document and, took it into consideration. Yes, no, if not, I can give you the link.
Yeah, if you can you email that to me? That would be
Yeah,
easy, Karen. So, or
yeah.
even the mailing list. So we have that. I don't think it had been taken into consideration. Early on in the AI bomb SBOM guide, we started putting fields in, but then we said no, SPDX is covering this really well. So we haven't got individual fields, but I'm wondering if there's individual concepts that we need to consider. So please share that
Yeah.
through.
So I'll share it, but G7 has categorized the fields. So like it'll say, base, like you have to have, who created it, et cetera, et cetera. And so I think at that level, you should just verify that, the user guide has that. One other observation when I was reviewing that guide, maybe it was a bit too harsh, but it's a lot of old information. It's not the latest and greatest of both Cyclone and SPDX. And I don't know if
Okay,
that's an issue or you're just gonna, it was correct at a point in time, but the world
let's
unfortunately
move
moves
on. Yeah.
very fast. So I didn't know how you wanted to address that. Like, is it going to be a living document? And then once Mary puts it up on, GitHub, then you'll just take PRs, like with anything that's major changed. Is that the thought?
Um, I don't know. I think that's still to be discussed at a time. At a certain time, we were going to do that, but there hasn't been much development on that. So maybe that is, yeah, something we can do if we do develop this, put this guide up. I'm assuming it would be fairly static unless there are scenarios like this that come about. So I don't know if that answers the question. I think it sort of does.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, unfortunately, everybody wants to define an AI bomb, and yeah, there's lots going on out there.
Yeah, I think we need to be a little bit careful about trying to mandate something that comes from a group like the G7, because what ISO tries to do with all their specifications is to try to retain some independence from a national push on the rest of the world to mandate things. And I think that it's even more important here when you start getting into things like AI and specifically in this S-bombs, because AI is, and I'm sorry for the people who think AI is it, but AI is just software, is simply software. And so from that respect, an S-bomb should not be creating a different S-bomb for AIs than you get for the rest of the software world, because then it's going to start fracturing the approach and understanding that people have if they've got different requirements. So we've been trying to be very careful about that with the other specifications and making sure that what we're trying to do in those specifications is applicable worldwide without any controversy, uh, and not trying to put one country or one group's policies in and imposing them on the rest of the world.
Yeah, I mean, I come from the ISO world, and so I totally agree with you, Chris. We shouldn't, but you should be at least aware of what G7 is sort of documenting, because it may or may not be some things you want to add in there, because it is getting a fair amount of traction with the EU organizations to do with the AI Act, um, and eventually the ISO. But I did forget to mention the SPDX um, software bomb, which includes the AI components, 3.0.1 is going to be approved by ISO this month, probably within the next week. So we will have a baseline of what ISO is specifically thinking. My only argument with your AI systems, yes, they are software, but they have this extra sort of interesting twist that they are very tied to data, and they are trained on data, verified on data, and data is the factor that can change sort of the behavior of an AI system. So you just got to make sure that you're documenting those types of things, because we're finding when you look at the vulnerabilities that come with an AI system over a traditional software system, they are mostly around the data, where hackers and bad actors are getting in to hurt your system. So that would be my only twist. I agree with you. It's purely software, but it's got this interesting twist that it's very tied to the data. Anyway, others can choose to say differently.
I think the G7 one, it's useful in a way that it enumerates those properties that's possible, right, for us to consider, but to mandate, right, a particular set of fields as like you actually have to have this in SBOM unless it's not conform, something like that, right? Probably like another thing, but I think like still useful in a way that like we look those like enumerations and fields. I just put in the chat that at least in the area of dataset and models, there are certain fields that whether it's like Cyclone DX or SPDX air profile or the G7, these are the fields that I think in traditional SBOM we don't actually have it yet. But of course, like AI just like another type software, right? But the traditional SBOM we don't actually have these fields to record them. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing. I haven't looked into this G7 yet, but that will be my homework.
Well, I think that's been a really productive and great meeting. We've discussed lots of different things, all very helpful. Anyone got any final things to discuss, or we can bring the call to a close?
Usually I have a kind of habit to do a summary in the end of the meeting, like to be clear the action point both for myself and others. So for me, I have two action points here, maybe three, yeah, three action points. First one, I will create the AI work group in GitHub, include the document link, which Matthew will send me later. And then we could like post the LinkedIn or news, to collect the PRs. People have access to read it if they have like comments that could put issues there. And then we review the issues. If it's a big issue or small issues, we decide how we are going to resolve that later on. The second action point is to work on our roadmap. So connect with Karen and to see how the other project is doing this. This could be good to be transparent to all the organizations, so we don't, do things have a lot of overlaps or duplicate things, which is great. I really like this way of working. My third one is to contact the Link Foundation, the Joint Development Foundation. Jory, right? Her
Jory,
name is
yeah.
Jory, yeah. To see how our the process and how to make sure our contribution to the ISO 42003 will continues.
Yeah. So Matthew, I have one other thing. My apologies. So finally, Art can also talk to it. SPDX has a tool that will generate an SBOM, SPDX SBOM and knowledge graph. It's pretty cool. It's in a beta state right now, but maybe for next month I can get Gopi and or one of us to come in and demo it.
Amazing. Yes, please.
And I can share a document that Gopi has put together a presentation about it, like now. So I'll send it in an email to you so you can include it. So you can. Oh, Gopi's already posted it. Oh my God. But it is up on GitHub. Gopi, did you put the presentation that Gopi gave yesterday? Okay. Oh, as he
It's Art. Yeah.
yeah, Art's actually saying there are two generators now. Myself, I'm excited about the one for Gopi because you can actually point it at Hugging Face, GitHub, et cetera, and it will build, you say the model or the AI system, and it actually builds the JSON LD file and or a knowledge graph that you can ask questions about your AI system or your
Right.
software system.
Well, thanks for putting that in the chat. We can explore that. I remember hearing about this very early on, so looking forward to seeing how that's going.
Yep. So
put that on the agenda for next month if you can make it, and we can present it and discuss it and promote it.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. That's why I was suggesting it. Is if it's on the agenda, I will get Gopi to present it.
Perfect. Well, thanks everyone. Have a good rest of your day, and we'll speak next month.
See you.
Thank you,
Bye.
Matthew. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
Chris,
you.
bye.
Bye-bye.
And Ali.